Don't feel like going home, but all my cash is gone. Yeah, I got nothing to do tonight.
Right now, it's time for Tom Maoli's Go Big or Go Home show. Tom Maoli's Go Big or Go Home show will explain how you can start a business, grow your business, fund your idea, or the next multi-million-dollar invention, or how to buy that piece of real estate you've always wanted. Now's your chance to hear it live, right from the Serial Entrepreneur. It's Tom Maoli's Go Big or Go Home show. Here's Tom Maoli.
Go big or go.
We're back. 2018, Tom Maoli, Serial Entrepreneur, Go Big or Go Home. Boy, it was a great 2017. The ratings were off the charts, and we want to thank all the listeners, and I want to thank Jim Totten for filling in. Jim put on a great show while I was gone, and Jim's here tonight. Say hello, Jim. Ride the shotgun with me.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
All right, doing great.
Good, thanks a lot.
Yeah, that was great. Appreciate you filling in. Did a great job. Listened to it from Miami Beach and Palm Beach, Florida.
A lot warmer than here in New York.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely. And, 2018 is going to be bigger and better. We have a big time lineup. It's going to be unbelievable of guests. I would have to take the rest of the show to list the guests that we have lined up week after week. It's just amazing. It's going to get better and better. And we're looking forward to 2018. So tonight we're going to talk about something very special. I think it's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about women entrepreneurs. How female entrepreneurs are becoming more prevalent in the USA today, in the marketplace, and how it's now, the marketplace is now accepting women, and they're making their mark. It's absolutely amazing. Perfect example, and I bring this up, and I think I've mentioned this on previous shows. My daughter, who obviously I love, who is studying at High Point University in North Carolina, which, by the way, I'm a big fan and a big supporter of the school. Dr. Nito Cubane is unbelievable. He's done an amazing job exploiting entrepreneurship. This is a guy who came to the United States as a teenager with basically no knowledge of English and 50 cents in his pocket. And on his journey's been amazing. Actually, we're gonna hopefully have him on as a guest 1 week in the future. Guy's amazing. My daughter's there studying. That's her major, entrepreneurship. When I started, no one knew what the word was. Entrepreneur. No one knew what an entrepreneur was. They didn't know what it meant. And now in 2018, women are becoming a big part of this entrepreneurship world. Women are entrepreneurs. Example, Meg Whitman, President and Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of eBay, right? Here's a woman who came from nothing, became the 5th wealthiest woman on the Fortune 500 companies list. Absolutely amazing. Carly Fiorina, right? Chief Executive Officer of Hewlett-Packard from 1999 to 2005. Fiorina was the first woman to lead a top 20 company as ranked by Fortune magazine. She unsuccessfully ran for the United States Senate and Republican president nomination in 2016. She became AT&T's first female officer and senior vice president overseeing the company's hardware division. Later in 1996, she was appointed as the president of Lucent Technologies. 97, she was named the group president for Lucent. On and on and on. Another one near and dear to my heart, Martha Stewart. Woman near and dear to my heart, born and raised in my hometown, Nutley, New Jersey. Businesswoman, went to the same high school I went to. Must be the water in Nutley because I love it there. And, it just, when you talk about Nutley, I could talk for on and on and on. But again, Martha Stewart went to Nutley High School. Talk about an American businesswoman. Here's a woman, an entrepreneur, started a company. It's absolutely amazing. She's a writer, a television personality, founder of Martha Stewart Living, Omni Media. She's gained success through a variety of business ventures, publishing, broadcasting, merchandising, e-commerce. She's written numerous books, publisher of Martha Stewart Living. She started in the catering business in her basement with a friend. Imagine starting in the catering business with nothing in the basement of your home and turning it into what she turned it into. It's absolutely amazing. And, this week we have a very special guest, a female entrepreneur, very successful, high up on the list, and her name is Andrea Douglas. Andrea was the former quarterback of the New York Sharks women football team, now and captain, and now owner of the team. Andrea Douglas is the former creative director and athletic after graduating with honors from Florida State University, where she was a member of a two-time national championship rugby team. She began playing golf. In 1983, she moved to New York, where she received a master's degree in communications design from Pratt University. 30 years later, after retiring as the vice president of, now listen to this, the vice president of Time Warner, she worked as a creative consultant for the entertainment industry and has recently been named managing director of KDP, a family-owned business involving land development in Florida. Talk about an entrepreneur. In August of 2000, Andrea decided to follow her entrepreneurial dream. She purchased the New York Sharks, a woman tackle football team, the first league out there. It's mind-boggling. Here's a woman who talk about an industry that you'd say, why? I mean, how is this possible? This woman got into this industry. So she purchases the team. Reluctantly, she no longer suits up as the quarterback. She was the quarterback of the team. I mean, here's a woman who's basically getting sacked. Right? I mean, she's going back in the pocket. She's throwing the football. She's on the field, just like you watch on every Sunday. And she decides to take off the uniform. She buys the team. She now focuses as her role of the owner of the New York Sharks and writing about the team and her childhood passion of football. The Sharks, after 18 years in existence, are the premier team over 100 women's tackle football teams across the nation. Number one team. Okay, her team is of the most storied and successful in the ever-growing sports of women tackle football. You know, there's other women's sports out there. There's basketball. Women's sports is growing. Women entrepreneurships are growing. Near and dear to my heart. My daughter's studying entrepreneurship. It's amazing that the world is opening for women. And we're gonna bring Andrea on, say hello to her. Then we're gonna take a commercial break and we're gonna come back and get some questions from her. Andrea.
Yes, Tom. Hi, how are you?
How are you? Thanks for coming on the show, and I appreciate your time. Pleasure. And your story is absolutely amazing. You know, when I look at your story, and you know, it kind of reminds me of me. You know, when you think about where you started and what you've gone through and how you got to where you're at, and we're going to spend a little time talking about that and let some of the listeners ask you some questions. But it's absolutely amazing that you just out of nowhere woke up one day and took this step to follow your entrepreneurial dream, which to me is really what my whole show is about. It's getting people from out behind their desk, get out of the cubicle, get out of corporate America, go follow your dreams. You know, it's interesting because I talk about High Point University where my daughter's going. And, you know, they teach this day after day. But, you know, the kids go to most of these colleges and they come out and they think that they have a degree. That's it. They're set up for life. They're successful. That is just a piece of paper that's going to give you a pass into the future. You need to take the step. You need to go out and do it. You need to take that risk. You need to feel it in your gut, which clearly you did. And we're going to talk about that. If you could please hold on the line, we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be back shortly. It's Go Big or Go Home. Tom Maoli, 1-800-848-WABC. The lines are open. Call in with your questions. We have Andrea Douglas, former quarterback of the New York Sharks, women football team, and now owner of the team. Entrepreneur extraordinaire, woman entrepreneur, unbelievable. We're going to be right back.
77 WABC.
Go big or go. Go big or go home. Go big or go home. Go big or go home. Go big or go home.
We're back. 2018, high above the towers of Madison Square Garden. It's Tom Maoli. Go Big or Go Home. And tonight, we have special guest, Andrea Douglas, former quarterback of the New York Sharks women's football team, now captain and owner of the team. We're talking about women entrepreneurs. And Andre, are you on?
Andre, yes,
Andre,
I'm here.
Andre, okay. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. I want to get one question, and thanks for joining our show, and thanks for hanging on. I want to get one question passed because I think everybody out there was gonna love to hear your thought on this question. It's not a business question. It's not an entrepreneur question. It's a sports question. Talk to me about your thoughts with the NFL and the kneeling in the national anthem.
Well, oh boy, you get right into the meat of things, don't you? I understand perfectly the reason why Colin Kaepernick started it. I really do. I personally don't think it's the venue to be doing that, only because I just don't really like the turn that sports has taken in the last decade. It's become too political, and it's gotten away from the people, the players, the stories, the meaning of what it is to be on a team.
Right.
And I think that's a lot more important than what it's gone to now. So although I understand it 100%, I wish it hadn't been done there and evolved in what has happened.
Right. And, it's interesting you say that because, when you go back to the days of the Roman gladiators, it was about sports. It's about competition. It's not about all the stuff that's going on around it. It's really about a competition and who can get out there and be prepared and play better and win. And, if you don't win this week, you go back and you practice and you do better. And that's how it is in business. Sometimes you fail. You start a business, you make it the business decision, it goes the wrong way, you go back to the drawing table, you get in the conference room, you get your people in, you get in a group, no different than a huddle.
That's right.
And what's the next play? What are we going to play next? Sometimes you got to play offense, sometimes you got to play defense. So I clearly understand it. Definitely too political. Definitely not the venue for it. Great answer, and appreciate it. So talk to me about and what made you decide, because so many people out there are listening to my show right now, and I get the calls during the week, I get the emails during the week and the text messages, and people say to me, well, what makes you do this? At what point do you feel that in your gut and you say, I'm going to go do that? What made you make the decision to play women's football and then ultimately go out and buy the team? Listen, I'm an entrepreneur. I do this every day. I've been doing it for 35 years. I'm amazed at it.
Well, in this particular case, Tom, it was a little bit of I bought it by default. Other things that I've done, I certainly look at the financial aspect, and I hope to make good decisions concerning that. This, however, came along, and when the league started, one team had to have an owner, quote unquote, to join the league. And at the time, we were a flag team, my friends and I, and we were up on the docket for sale as the New York Sharks, and we thought for certain that someone would purchase us. And when the nth hour came and nobody did, it was my passion, and it was about to get away from me. So I just pulled out money from my savings and bought the team. It really wasn't meant to be a financial investment. It was just purely passion.
Well, listen, it's follow your dream. And, I've been there. Some of the best deals I've ever done and some of the best situations I've ever gotten into were by accident. I'm a car guy, right? I'm now out of nowhere. I restored and my first car when I was 16 years old, and I sold it, and I'll never forget. I made money on it, and I said, wait a minute, this is a business. And I started making money at it, and I realized I could buy a car, fix it up, and sell it, and here I am. 30 years later, I'm in the retail automobile business. I have 6 dealerships, in the Northeast, and more coming. And that was by accident. And sometimes
Amazing.
Those
are the best things.
The best things is you go with your gut, you go with your passion, and sometimes it just comes through out of nowhere. And now you're the owner of the New York Sharks. Tell me about it. How is it running a football team?
Well, it's something that we, my friends and I, learned by default. No one had ever run a sports team. There had never existed a women's pro tackle team before, so it was such a huge learning curve. We've made mistakes. We've had many successes. Overall, it's been one of the best experiences of my life, albeit very hard and trying at times. But, what good things aren't worth that?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
But overall, it's been a great experience.
So if you had to do it all over again and you had to rewind the tape and look, now obviously you could see, the history's played out. You can rewind the tape and you can look at it. Would you do it the same? Would you do it again?
Oh, you bet. Yes, I would. I would do it again. I'd do a few things differently, and the first thing I would do is try to establish a stronger umbrella, a league for all of us to play under. And it's not lack of trying for the leagues and the teams. We've all tried everything that we can, but I think in order for this to be truly successful, there has to be a very strong core. Maybe just a few teams to start with, a good television contract. And we all have been playing for 20 years hoping that this would come about. And at this point, it has not, but I know it's due, so I imagine that's coming. I would have tried to do that a lot sooner.
So history repeats itself. You would have done it all over again. No different than me. If I go backwards in my career and I look at it, I would do it all over again. I wouldn't change a thing. The ride was amazing. And, if you looked at it now, it's interesting because, I was just with some people today who were talking about this. You look at the reward, right? And you look at what you have to put in to get the reward. And the reward sometimes is not financial. Sometimes it's just, it fills your desire of what you want to do,
Right.
But, when you look at that, what would you say the most exciting portion or a time is? Would it be the inception? Would it be the struggles along the way, or would it be the reward?
I would say the most exciting time of the past 20 years of doing this is game day. Every game day is like a dream come true. I on game days, there is not anywhere in this world, not a person, not a place, not a thing that I would rather be doing than that.
That's amazing. No, that is amazing. That says it all. It's as an entrepreneur, when you open up your business, for business the next day, it's the same way. When I used to be in the logistics business, and I'm just going to give you an analogy. I used to be in the logistics business, and I had 750 warehouses around the world. And when the trucks backed up to the docks and they were loading up the pallets and things were moving, and I would smell the diesel fumes, I would get excited, and because I knew, right? I just knew it was game day. It was time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yes. Yeah, so it's interesting, but once you have that passion, you can't change it. There's no turning it off. It's you either have it or you don't. And
but how blessed are we to have a passion? I mean, so many don't.
Absolutely, very blessed. And this is what my show is about. I'm trying to teach people to get that passion, find that passion, go for it, because there's so many people that are stuck in corporate America. They're stuck in their careers. They want to build wealth for their family. They want a future. They want to follow a dream, or they have a dream. They want to do something. They've known all their life this is not what they want to do, but they're afraid to take that step. That's what this is about. You're a clear inspiration, and we have some callers that want to ask you some questions. I want to ask you a few more questions. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back. It's 1-800-848-WABC. The phone lines are open. It's Tom Maoli, Serial Entrepreneur, Go Big or Go Home. We are going to come back momentarily with Andra Douglas, former quarterback of the New York Sharks women's football team and now owner of the team, entrepreneur extraordinaire. We'll be back.
77 WABC.
Go big or go. Go big or go home. Go big or go home. Go big or go home. Go big or go home.
And we're back. It's Tom Maoli, Go Big or Go Home, high above the towers of Madison Square Garden, 2018. We're back. We have Jim Totten, Jim was filled in for me while I was away, and he's riding shotgun with me tonight.
I love shotgun.
Absolutely. And tonight we're talking about women entrepreneurs. Meg Whitman, CEO of eBay. Carly Fiorina, Hewlett-Packard. Martha Stewart, entrepreneur extraordinaire, started her own company, a catering business out of the basement. And we have Andra Douglas, former quarterback of the New York Sharks women's football team, now captain and owner of the team, on the line. And we're back, and I want to ask you a few questions. I thought about a few things, and which resonated when we were off the air. And how do you tell people to find their passion?
Well, that's tough, Tom, because I do believe some people are born with passions. I know I was. To go find it, I don't really know the answer to that. I would have to say do a lot of soul searching. Sit down by yourself, spend a lot of time by yourself, and, yourself will emerge.
Right.
I think that'd probably be the best way to do it.
Right. So how do you, right, coming from where you're at, deal with the obstacles of growing up in Florida? You wanted to play football, which was out of the norm, female playing football, right? And something that girls don't do, and especially in the South, which is football world, it's football territory. It's you got Alabama, Florida State, you got all these colleges. It's all football in the South. And you come out of nowhere, and your star quarterbacks by the team. How do you deal with the obstacles of growing up?
Well, they seem insurmountable, but they're not. They're not. You just keep plugging along. One of my favorite sayings is Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. And I just kept that in mind and just kept going. If you love something, it just keeps popping up, whether you try or not. And the obstacles were a lot. There, of course, everyone says, no, you can't be a football player. No, you shouldn't like football. You shouldn't. This shouldn't, I took into a positive because I've completed a book about, shouldn't, and then, as it so happens, you should.
What's the name of that book? Because I want all the listeners to go out and buy that book. I'm going to go buy the book. I want to read it. What's the name of that book?
The name of it is Black and Blue, and it will be published soon. It's not out yet, but it's on the way. And it's based on a true story, and it's all about being told no and growing up and saying yes, and then how this team falls into my lap, really. And we go out and we win the national title, and it's just it's a feel good kind of a modern day League of Their Own. It's about empowerment for women and how they should just always keep going with what their gut says and what their passions are. Amazing.
We have to give you a big round of applause for that. That is amazing. I'm one that doesn't give up. When somebody tells me no, it makes me go.
Right.
To me, it's a challenge. You've just challenged me. It's, don't tell me to jump off the Empire State Building because I may do it because you're challenging me. But, no
right.
makes me go, and I love it. I cannot wait to read this book. It's absolutely, it's right up my alley. It's so exciting. And the best part about it is it's a true story.
It is a true story, yes.
Right.
We lost a teammate in the middle of all this. We went through 9/11 in the middle of all
sorry.
this. We meaning my team, the Sharks. And it's just about overcoming adversity that everyone was dealing with, and then also dealing with the adversity of being women and wanting to play tackle football and trying to find sponsors and trying to, just stay alive in the sports world.
Right.
And to this day, we still support ourselves. I mean, we depend on each other to keep getting out there.
Well, listen, it's the life is a team effort. It's, when anybody thinks they could do it alone, they're fooled, because it's a team effort. Life is a team effort. You need people. You need to help people in business. It's all about a team effort. I equate it to crew. If you ever watch there's so many sports, but if you ever watch a crew team row a boat, if everybody's rowing in a different direction, the boat's going nowhere. Everybody has to row in the same direction. Everybody's got to be on the same page.
So true.
Yeah, and especially in your business, football. Right? You could have the greatest quarterback in the world, but if the line is not blocking for you, you can't do your job.
That's right.
Right. And
that's very true.
So we're going to take a second here. We have a caller. We have Joseph from Great Neck who has a business question, and I'd like to see what your answer is. And obviously, clearly, I know what my answer is. But Joseph, go ahead. You're on the line, Joseph.
Tom, how you doing? Joe from Great Neck.
How you doing? Good.
Been listening every week. Glad to have you back.
Good.
Pleasure too. Two entrepreneurs for one tonight. I got a quick question for you two. So we're in 2018. Trump's got a year under his belt. Stock market is on fire. What do you think the business climate for 2018 looks like on the horizon?
I think it's very positive. I really do. I like where the economy is going. I think things are crazy, granted, but I also think that people are in a more positive space, and I think positive thinking brings positive things. So I'm a big proponent of investing and carrying out some big dreams in 2018.
How do you see that? How do you see that in the sports world? Do you see the sports world expanding? You know, football's under pressure right now. The National Football League's under major pressure. It's all over the newspapers. It's all over the news. It's all over social media. Where do you see sports going?
Well, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I think sports has taken a wrong turn in the last decade. I think sports needs to have a bit of a shakeup. I think it's gotten out of control, quite honestly. Sports is about bettering people's lives, giving people opportunity, giving them a home and hope and goals. And I think the sports as finance right now, I'm not happy with that. I would not invest in anything like that, but you never know.
So you earlier in the show, you actually kind of brought it full circle. You know, it used to be that you kept sports, and politics, and then just blind in the line. So I would agree with you there.
I'm sorry?
No, I would agree with you back to your point earlier today about keeping sports separate from politics, etc. So I would agree with everything you said. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the call, Joe. So back to sports and back to, you know, you and I don't know, how is it in the women's league versus the NFL or the other sports leagues that are out there? You have these athletes in today's world that are making not millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're coming out and 2 years later they're broke. You know, what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
These are people who have opportunities of a lifetime. They have access, you know, to obviously, you know, all kinds of money, and they're not doing the right thing with it. They're not being good stewards. They're not managing the process and managing the money. They're coming out, and 2 to 3 years later they're broke. How do you feel about that?
I find it extremely frustrating. These people have the world by the tail, and it takes very little to understand that you can't play sports forever. You know, right. I tell all my players, listen, play until you absolutely can't, because these times will not come again. And it's real frustrating to watch these players who are earning a gazillion dollars, and then they turn around and go broke. When whether it's peer pressure or just arrogance, I don't know, but I wish it wasn't so frustrating, because my players, people who make very little in comparison, have the wherewithal to budget and make sure that their lives can run properly. So it's frustrating at best.
Andra, hi, it's Jim Totten. Just a quick question. What's the financial status of the league currently? And do you have any TV or radio deals signed up?
No, we don't at the time. I know that there have been some in the past, but it's, again, this is what I was also saying, that if I had it to do over again, I would really focus on trying to create a league as an umbrella for the solid teams to play under. We don't have any TV contracts, but I think that's what it would take to really put this thing over the top. Take the top 10 or 12 teams, get a TV contract, get some great organization, and it's a beautiful sport, and the women are so talented. They just need
I have seen it. It is there's a lot of excitement in that league. Amongst really Tom's other companies, one of the big things right now is social media. That could play a big role, I'm sure, in your league, getting word out through Instagram, Twitter, at all. Agreed?
Yes, it has. It's helped a lot. The Sharks do all of that, and I know the league does as well. Everyone is capitalized on that. So, and it has grown the sport quite a bit.
Interesting.
Hopefully
Interesting.
a lot more.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a commercial break. It's Go Big or Go Home. If you could just hang on, I got a few more questions, and they're not going to be about sports anymore. I want to talk about your real estate career. I want to talk about the family-owned real estate business, near and dear to my heart. I'm a real estate developer, and I want to talk about the state of affairs in the real estate world in South Florida, your experience there, because that's a whole nother entrepreneurial dream that obviously you're following, family business. We want to talk about it when we get back. It's 1-800-848-WABC. 1-800-848-9222. The lines are open. We'll be back in a moment.
77 WABC.
Go big or go. Go big or go home. Go big or go home. Go big or go home. Go big or go home.
Hi, we're back. It's Tom Maoli, Serial Entrepreneur, 2018. Go Big or Go Home. Lineup is incredible. What a great show we got going. It's a great start to the new year. We have our 2018 lineup is going to be unbelievable. We've got some big names. We're going to take a call real quick, but before we take a call, we have a sponsorship break.
I just wanted to let you know this segment is brought to you by Celebrity Motor Car of New Jersey, the largest luxury dealer in the Northeast area with Lexus, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Maserati, and Alfa Romeo stores. Check it out at www.celebritymotorcar.com. It's part of my day job. I know them very well.
Excellent, excellent. Before we get back with Andre Douglas, we're gonna take a call from Angelo in Staten Island, who has a question regarding investments. Angelo, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Tom. By the way, I love the show. I watch it every week. You do a great job over there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for listening in.
I have for you.
I can hear that Staten Island accent, but go ahead.
I want to know, what do you think of Bitcoin as an investment?
Well, listen, the whole Bitcoin phenomenon is incredible. I think it's one of those things that you have to be in it, right? It's the radio boom of the 20s. It's the internet boom of the 80s. You have to be in it. You can't not be in it, but you got to be careful. I think the bottom could fall out at any time. I really don't think that the markets have their arms around what this is about. It's electronic trading. It's paper money. It's moving so quickly. And what's going on in this marketplace? Clearly, you can make a fortune. But I'm one who believes in history, and if you look at history, history repeats itself. And you study history, and that's how you get some of your knowledge. And some of people say to me, "Why do you study history in school?" It's because history repeats itself, and you want to make sure that you don't do what somebody in the past did wrong. Right? And you look at when you look at the stock market crash of 1929, it was caused by a phenomenon of a technology boom, and it was called the radio. Radio came out. People could not believe that they could sit in their living rooms and listen to people talk over this median, over this tube, over this box, and they would sit there, and families would gather together, and then advertisers came in, and it was a boom, and it rode so high, and it was the Roaring '20s, and then boom. Bottom dropped out, stock market crash, and people went broke. They were jumping off of buildings, they were killing themselves. Bad thing. You got to be careful. I think you can't not be in it, but I think you have to be careful. I think you have to watch it every day, every minute, every hour, and that's my position on it. That's where it goes. We're gonna thanks for the call. Appreciate you calling in. We have Andrea Douglas on the phone. We have to get back to her. We only have a few more minutes with her. I have a few questions. Andrea, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today. Really very blown away, amazing woman entrepreneur. Like I said, near and dear to my heart. My daughter's in school studying it. She's going to be an entrepreneur. You're a mentor and an amazing example of what you can do if you put your head to it, black and white. Let's get off of sports for a minute. talk to me about the real estate business, because clearly you are now a managing partner of KDP, a family-owned business involving land development in Florida. Tell me about it. I've been doing real estate for 35 years. I love it. It's my passion. I every day I ride past real estate. I see it. I see buildings. I look at what I could do with them, and I love it. Talk to me about your real estate business.
Well, my grandfather back in the 20s and 30s acquired a lot of land in Central Florida. And he was quite the entrepreneur himself. He turned it into Florida Citrus, and then segued. Well, actually, it started as a lumber company, and then turned it into Florida Citrus and segued into the cattle business.
Clearly, back then, clearly a pioneer. Yeah. No one was going to Florida. There was nothing in Florida. You went into the middle of Florida, it was nothing. It was swamps.
That's right. And he had a beautiful logging business, and my father took it over, and he ran the cattle and citrus business for decades. And my father passed, and one of my cousins and I now run the remaining pieces of the ranch, and we prepare it for, we get it, I'm losing my words here. We prepare it for development.
Okay. All right, so you're actually doing development. You're doing real estate development. You're preparing the land. You're going through the entitlements. Are you putting the roads in and the infrastructure in, or you're outsourcing that?
No, we engineer for that. We get all the plans together, and then hopefully the developers do that. Sometimes we partner with the developers. Other times we get it, engineered, platted, and ready to go for the developer. But it's something that also took a learning curve, but I find it very intriguing. And Florida is on fire right now. So
Florida, listen, the world wants to be in Florida. You have the people up in the Northeast that want to be down there. Obviously, we're in frigid weathers here. I'm in Madison Square Garden, New York City. I walk outside, it's frigid, it's below zero. Florida is on fire because people want to move down there. There's tax advantages to being in Florida. We've got no state tax. People are running to Florida. Then you have the hurricane that hit, obviously they hit the islands. Those areas are devastated. So Florida is clearly on fire right now. It's definitely a great place to invest. I love the real estate business. I love the fact. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I'll ask you a question, because people ask me all the time. So not only do you own the football team and run the football team and manage the football team, and you do land development, where do you get the time?
Well, it's funny because I bounce around. I work from my home, and I bounce around my apartment from one thing to the other. I also have a nonprofit company, the Fins Up Foundation for Female Athletics. I have 2 real estate properties that I manage that I rent. Both are in the middle of renovation right now. So my plate is full, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's just, I believe you got to keep a lot of sticks in the fire, and some of them are not going to catch them, but the ones that do, it's a lot of fun. It keeps life interesting. Well,
listen, it's clearly the trait, and I knew the answer to the question because I live it every day. It's what I do. I do real estate, and I've been doing it for 35 years. I do it in the car on the way home. People say to me, when do you get the time to do the real estate? You run all these other companies and these other businesses, and now you have a radio show. And I said, you know what? I do it in the car on the way home. It's just what I do. It's just, it's like breathing. It's, there's no 9 to 5. It's just,
No.
Right. You just
there's
stop.
No downtime.
Right. You just, it's 8 o'clock at night. You're thinking of real estate. You're thinking of development. You're thinking of where the roads are going to go and how you're going to put them in. But
it's fun.
It's fun. It's, you know what? It's absolute fun, and I'm so glad you said that because that's what I want my listeners to hear. When they finally embrace taking that step, following their entrepreneurial dream, getting out from behind the desk, it's fun.
It really is. It really, really is. And there's so much to do. And if I had to choose which thing I like the best, I really don't know, which is why I bounce around my house all day, working a little bit on this, a little bit on that, a little bit on this. And I find very interesting. I love life. Absolutely.
Well, listen, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's clear the trade of an entrepreneur. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being on. Please let us know when the book comes out. I want everybody to go out and buy it. It's called Black and Blue. It's Andrea Douglas, former quarterback of the New York Sharks, owner of the New York Sharks. You got to get the book. You got to read it. It's a real story. It's a real life story. And this is what entrepreneurship is about. Thank you very much for being on the show, and I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And good luck. We're just Tom Maoli, Go Big or Go Home. We're coming to an end here. We're high above the towers in Madison Square Garden. I want you to go to my website. It's www.tommaoli.net, because starting tomorrow, you're going to start seeing the lineup. The lineup's coming out. It's like a baseball team. We got the lineup of who's on bat and who's coming up to bat. You're going to see who's coming up to bat this year, and you're going to be amazed. It's going to be unbelievable. The show's going to get better and better and bigger and bigger. We've got amazing things lined up here, and you got to start. You got to start getting ready and looking at the lineup and getting your questions ready, because it's going to be a bonanza. It's a wonderful time, 2018. Jim, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you chipping in while I was
thanks,
away.
Tom. Absolute blast.
Yeah.
And with those guests, we are going to have it on social media as well as TomMaoli.net. And through promo spots here at WABC. So there's a lot of ways to find out about all these
Absolutely.
exciting
A couple
guests.
weeks out, we got the Grammys coming up. We're going to be doing some specials for that. We got to go. It's Tom Maoli. Go Big or Go Home. It's 1-800-848-9222. We'll see you next week. Thank you for your time.